Hey gamers, what's up? Welcome to Gamer Life. On today's episode, I'm going to be talking to you about Defenders of the Realm. Defenders of the Realm is a fantasy co-op game for 1 to 4 players. It takes about 2 hours to play. This game is designed by Richard Lanius, who designed Arkham Horror, Run, Fight or Die, and some other games. So let's take a look and I'll tell you what I think. So here is Defenders of the Realm. As you can tell, there's a lot of stuff to this game. It comes with a bunch of plastic minis. Here's all the regular minions, even though they are the same mold. They have different colors to them. There's the generals for each color. Here's one of the better looking ones, the Dragonkin one. Each hero is represented by their own plastic piece, like here's the Paladin one. And there's some other ones down here, the Berserker. I'm sorry, I think that's the Barbarian, this is the Berserker. I don't know if you can see that detail on that. It's very good quality miniatures in this game. Overall, the quality, the components for this game is excellent. Some people say that the font they use, I think it's the Comic Sans font, is silly. I don't care. It looks good and it functions well. So the object of Defenders of the Realm is there are 4 invading armies trying to make their way towards Monarch City. So each character will play as a hero. There are several different heroes in the game, each with their own unique figure and as well as their own unique powers. The heroes are trying to kill all 4 generals before either one general gets to Monarch City, before there are 5 generic minions inside Monarch City, before these crystals here are what they call the taint crystals. Yeah, I said it. If all 12 are put on the board, the players lose. Also, if you have to put on a certain color minion and there are no more minions of that color, you also lose. So what players are going to do on their turn is they're going to have a hand of cards that they're going to be using, as well as any special actions that they have on their player board to go around and try to defeat the minions, trying to untaint the land in case there are any crystals on the board. Now, players have a set number of actions based on their hit points. So I don't know if you can see that number at the bottom right there. That right there is their number of actions they have per turn, as well as their life points. So what players are going to do is they're going to have these little tokens here to represent their hit points as well as actions. So as they take an action, they will flip it over to show that they've exhausted one action for the turn. And if they ever take damage, if they ever take point damage, well then they have one less action they can do on their turn. So players are going to be moving around the board trying to fight off the minion, as well as using your cards. There are several different cards in the game. The cards are used for multiple things, such as this one here on top here. You can spend that card to move 2 extra spaces. Also at the bottom here is, let me see it too good or not? That has one of the enemy generals' name on it and number of dice. I'll come back to that later. So what players are going to do, so they're going to be moving around the board and trying to take out the minions. Each minion is slightly different based on what type of minion they are. For example, the green are the orcs, the black are undead, the blue are the dragonkin, and the red are just regular demons. So as players spend their actions to move, they can take an action to move 1 space. They can use the cards that I showed you earlier to move multiple spaces across the board. If a card has the eagle, let me see if I can find them real quick. If a card has the eagle symbol right here, they can move 4 spaces. Now, whenever they're in a spot with a general, they can attempt to kill the general. First, they have to kill all the minions where the general is at, and then they're going to have to play cards that match the general. That's what that bottom part here means. So for each card that they spend, they can roll that much dice and try to kill the general. Now, once the general has been killed, they would then take the general's tableau, flip it over, and they would be the slayer of that said general. Now, once they do that, though, they also have to move up the war status, which is right here. This little tableau right here, because as the war rages on, it becomes harder and harder. The remaining generals are starting to press further and further into Monarch City, so you have to draw more cards. Because normally at the end of the player's turn, they will draw 1 card. In mid-war, they would draw 2 cards, and in the late war, they would draw 3 cards. Now let's take a look at these cards. Now the top part of the card here tells you where a minion would be placed. So for example, you place a green minion in the Warren Forest and a black minion in the Brookdale Village. And at the bottom part here, it shows you what general moves if he's at that location. So if a general is at this location here, which is Angel Tier Falls, he would move to the next location. And the board has these little arrows to show you where his next location would be in case you get confused. Also, at the end of the player's turn, they would draw 2 more hero cards. Now, another thing in this game is the quest. Each player starts off with 1 quest. Now some quests are good, some quests are okay. They're just side things that players can do if they happen to be in that area to get certain things, such as this amulet here gives you +1 rolls against in all combat. What that means is whenever you try to take out the general or the minions, you're going to have to roll the dice for each type of minion there is. And certain minions are harder to hit than others. The orcs only require 3. The undead and the regular demons require 4, and the dragonkin, the blue ones, require 5 to hit. That in a nutshell wraps up Defenders of the Realm. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is if there are ever 3 minions in one spot and you have to place another minion inside that spot, you don't do that. Instead, you overrun that spot. So you take one of the crystals, put it on that spot, and you put 1 minion of the minion that caused overrun into each adjacent location. And that too can cause more overruns. Now, if any of this sounds familiar, that's because it is. This is pretty much fantasy Pandemic. But I like this better than Pandemic because I like the theme, I like the dice rolling, I like the miniatures. True, I wish each miniature was different instead of just being the same generic mold with just different colors. I know they did this to keep the cost down, but it would have been nice to have different miniatures for each of the different generals. I mean, for each of the different types, such as the orcs and the undead. I know they sell a miniature upgrade for each of the 4 armies, but I think it's like $25, and I'm not $25 per color. So to get all 4 upgraded, that's $100. I'm not doing that. And my only other biggest complaint is the layout of the board. Yes, especially when it comes to adding in the Darkness Spread cards. Yes, it tells you what color you have to add the stuff to, but you're still spending at least 2 to 3 minutes trying to figure out, okay, it's green, but where is the Wyvern Forest? And everyone's looking and finds out, okay, look, it's down here. That is a little bit annoying. And just like, and as I mentioned in my other reviews, it is a dice roller. And you have to be comfortable with rolling the dice. And if you're not, this ain't the game for you, because you have to get the rolls. And especially certain generals are harder to beat than others, and players are going to have to work together to give other players cards to defeat the generals, because you need to roll a lot of dice to defeat the generals, especially the blue one, because you need 5 to hit him. But other than that, I really enjoy the game. Yeah, the game takes a little long. It's about a little over 2 hours. They have the expansion, the Dragon expansion, which increases the player count to 6. I've played this with 5. I don't think I played once with 6. It ran a little long. I prefer with 5 players. Also, just like Pandemic, it has a little bit of that quarterbacking feel to it, in which one player tells everybody else what to do. But once this game starts going, you're going to see a lot of bad stuff happening all over the board. So it mitigates that quarterbacking, which one player tells everybody what to do, because there's just so much bad things going on that there is not one clear-cut thing to do. One thing I do recommend players doing is, even though you get those quest cards, don't try to solely do that. If you can do the quest while you're on your way to do other things, do that. But trying to just complete the quest cards because you might get a cool item is not worth it, because I have played this game and lost in 2 rounds. It went bad. It got bad real fast. But other than that, I truly enjoy Defenders of the Realm. It's one of my favorite co-op games. Also, it's one of my top, I believe, it's one of my top 5 favorite games of all time. So, thanks for watching, and remember, I believe there's a game for everyone. Thank you.